page 56 and page 57. In these experiments I have done a few shaving foam marbling from Ralph's video and from what I'd done at school. Doing this is the first print that I done, where I has flattened and smoothed the shaving foam and then used a few drops, got a paintbrush and swirled the pattern back and forth where you can see the lines of each one. This comes out very strongly. Even if I watered the inks, it waters it down as well if I wanted it to. This is also reliable, but not as good for drawing an image and then trying to print it. I do like this technique as it's very colourful and it's also fun. As for my second piece, I have used a piece of lined paper where I've dipped the edge that's already been lifted up from the previous one, which you'll see in the third piece. But basically, once you've done your first one, all the colours left on the shaving foam will be all blurred and spread out. Especially because most of the shaving foam has been lifted off on the first piece, which is then usually wiped off, which I use my squeegee to do because it helped me and it was much quicker to use that tool. As for my third print, this shows more of a good variety of what's happened, and this, you can see in this corner, which is what I done the second experiment on, which you can see how all the colours from where they were all dots, which this in the first piece this dot got left, you can see the difference from where it was a dot, and sharp bright colours from where it all blended really nice and soft, which I find really beautiful compared to the marble on the first piece, as it's nice and smooth and gentle, the colours after being blended. As for this first one, they're all sharp because they've not even been lifted or blended into the actual shaving foam itself. But also I've noticed that I can leave a few spots, such as this part, where there's sections where it has nice detail. And you can see the blend of different colours in one little spot here as well. Which also, this shape makes similar to a petal or a bubble, like a spear, circle, little edge. For page 57, I have used a different colour, which I've actually started using the foam on the squeegee on this piece. For this one, I had some foam from when I used a squeegee that ran off onto the tray, which I put a piece of paper, laid it on the tray, and then rubbed my hands on it with so much friction that's also traced a bit of the pattern that you might be able to see. See the pattern of the tray more where there's less, but also you can see a little bit just here. See the pattern is all crisscross. I kind of like this because if I put shaving foam on a pattern surface, then it will transfer onto the shaving foam and the inks to the paper, which I think is really cool. Though it might be quite difficult and problematic if I've done that, as the ink stains what it's touching. even the squeegee got stained from it, even though that's a rubber. So I won't be putting this on any rough surfaces unless it's something that doesn't mind being disposable. As for this piece, I have used a squeegee, the foam on the squeegee, to spread across this paper. That's actually came out quite nice. Similar to screen printing, where all the paint spreads, but this is where the ink's been spreaded on. It's good for backgrounds, as it helps to do like a large quality, and it'll be all equal. Same's happened on this one as well, but you can see less colours that was on some of the edges. As for this piece, this was the first one where I changed the colours. I even began to blend my own lighter tones, where I've used about two that I've made myself. I've used a lot of white on the pink and the purple. However, I found that it started to fizz. It might be because of too much air in the ink that's made it fizz, but it hasn't affected the work at all. But you can see where I've changed it compared to the first one where I used a brush stroke, to this where I've just made it simple, put a few drops, made a few small little swizzly lines like here, and then just drop my paper on top. As for this one, I went on to using some spare scrap paper that I've left from the previous projects that I didn't use, where I just used my squeegee and spread it across, which I repeated. It looks nice because it makes all the words colourful, but I still don't like it because all the words bring more attention than the actual colour itself. Though this could be actually considered when sticking in my text. I could colour even the pages or just every single text I have, so then it brings attention to all the writing straight away, instead of just the work that's been made for people and even other students to have a look at. I will be using shaving foam marble experiment because I'm used to it. I like what I've done, but however, instead of just lifting it up and then scraping it off with a squeegee, I'll be doing this technique where I use the foam that's left on the squeegee to spread across a surface, as I want to work with a larger surface than A4, which I find will be much more helpful and will blend the colours a bit more, whilst also leaving its shape. Similar to this piece where you can see the green lines and then the white line, blue, pink. That's what I'm looking for, more than something so detailed such as this piece.